Greetings, readers and friends. Harvey Michaels here. I'm thrilled to welcome you to our adventure into Danshui, President Plunge, Book 1, Evacuate or Pay. It was an electrifying story to write, and I can't wait to share some with you today. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Your support means the world to me. Thank you kindly. Okay, here we go. Chapter 4, Part 2, Wang Sanbao. I think kind Mr. Water Buffalo knows things. 5-year-old Wang Sanbao told his mother about his morning adventure. Angel stopped scrubbing a pan to listen to her youngest. He put his face right up to mine, and his eyes got big and small and big again. Then he smiled. His father overheard walking in. I told you the water buffalo are for tenant families. Safety and studies are everything. I told you more than once. Now you're bringing it into our kitchen. Father's nostrils flared, not unlike the oxen. Sanbao changes position on his hotel chair and smiles, remembering his father's reaction and the buffalo's gentle face. By habit, Sanbao is continually changing his posture, stretching in slow motion for his health. Actually, for his wife, who suggested 20 years earlier that they both try to be more flexible. He thinks of her, a frequent thing for him, and fingers the jade stone bracelet she gave him with the simple inscription, always your pearl. His phone vibrates, surprising him, because so few numbers are not automatically sent to voicemail for his secretary. It's her, Sanbao's wife, Pearl. He can't hear her so clearly at the noisy lunch table, but it is clear enough. She only says a single short sentence, uttering each word slowly, deliberately. Take the large smartphone from the girl with the blonde hair. With no other words, his wife hangs up. Very unusual. It is because she knows the meeting is happening now, Sanbao numbly rationalizes. Within seconds, he realizes with alarm how wrong that was, how dire it must be that she hung up after just uttering the one cryptic sentence. Sanbao turns and sees the girl. He recognizes her curly blonde hair for what it is, an expensive wig. Like everyone else there, he first sees the hair, then a distant hint of her odd, flashy blue contact lenses, and finally the expensive but peculiar outfit she's wearing. On TV news, people will insist her outfit is only for sale at certain department stores in China. He makes eye contact with his son 2 tables away. His son's expression is worried, but somehow knowing. Sanbao twists his head and slightly shakes it at his son, questioning him. Why? Sanbao stands up at his table and turns to the rear of the room. He goes to the blonde girl walking between and then behind the busy 8 circular tables halfway through lunch. It appears natural to onlookers, him walking in her direction, because she appears carefree, grinning calmly and motioning for him to come to her. She's acting like they are old friends, tilting toward him with a slowly growing smile. When he gets to where she is, she puts her hand on his forearm and leads him to the back of the room. She gives Sanbao a Bluetooth earphone and its connected phone tablet device. She helps him put the earphone in without losing her smile, and then she turns away, obviously avoiding the screen. An anxious twitch betrays her outward calm. President Wang, breathe. Make your body language casual, like nothing is happening. The controlled baritone voice pauses. Good. Now I will show you why this is important. Sanbao is trying to process what the man's voice is saying, including that the man can see Sanbao acting casual. But just then, an image appears on the screen that terrifies him. Surely you recognize your driver's wife and your bodyguard's wife. There is a click on the line, and the sound changes from a small space to a large room sound. A different man speaks with Sanbao, one holding a now-enabled camera pointing the smartphone so Sanbao can see the faces of the women taped at the dinner table. Sanbao doesn't recognize the half-shown face of the driver's middle-aged mother-in-law or the dining room they are in, but he knows James's wife, Ruth, and Theo's wife, Brenda. Their faces are trembling around wet, red eyes. The camera moves closer to show a fuller view of Brenda and Ruth. Silver duct tape covers mouths on faces quivering more, reacting to the closer camera. Tape also covers their forearms, pinning them to the table. A large butcher knife is sticking in the table between the wives. Gardening shears with gleaming hooked blades as long as small bananas rest on the table next to Brenda's exposed fingers. Sanbao sees a wedding ring reflected in the wicked steel curve. The man pulls his arm away and tilts the camera to the side from where the women are bound so that Sanbao can see two men both holding pistols. Their faces are covered with ski masks. There are two sleeping children in the next room. Do exactly what we say or we will kill everyone in a most horrible way. This gravelly voiced man sounds convincing. The gunman, away from the camera, opens and lifts the pruning tool, and with it Brenda's finger, which starts dripping blood onto the table, testifying to how sharp the blade edge is. The threat takes on a sound, a sick laugh calling out, "Oh, ho, ho, ha, ha." The man yielding the garden tool giggles like a deranged kid intrigued in a sick video game. Everyone understands the threat, but only muted tones escape the duct tape mouths of the squirming women around the table. The camera never fully shows Theo's mother-in-law, who already had a finger halfway amputated by the masked men. The screen goes black, but the line call is still on audio, and the first, deeper, more melodic voice he heard first is back. "We need to talk, Mr. President, that's all. You talk with us, or they all die, slowly. Your wife, too. We'll come back for your son, too. Or everyone can be just fine. We only want to talk to you," the voice assures Wang Sanbao. "Now take a breath, Mr. President. Take a breath and tell everyone it's nothing." People are turned in their seats and staring. "It's nothing?" Sanbao woodenly says to no one. Then he turns and waves nonchalantly at the other tables in the room. "Nothing, nothing. Enjoy your lunch." Sanbao's son has noticed and moves to draw the meeting back from this distraction. He calmly saunters to the podium and picks up the wireless microphone. "The hotel has been kind enough to prepare a special surprise for us today." He begins an introduction to something he has not thought all the way through, because when his father takes any spotlight, it dims all light on the son, whose image he feels is already defined as his father's shadow. His eyes are on his seated colleagues, but he is intensely aware as his father exits. The curly blonde-haired girl with dazzling blue eyes moves to take Sanbao's arm and gracefully leads him out the door. They move to the top of the second-floor stairs without stopping. Before beginning down, Sanbao realizes he's still holding the device when it comes on again. This time, the viewing split screens show his driver and bodyguard. "We are almost there where you are, President Wang," his driver says. Sanbao wonders if Theo is sending him a message or they have commanded him to call Sanbao by the title he specifically told James and Theo not to call him. The screen goes black again, and they steadily step down the blood-red carpeted stairs. His attempt to regain calm and breathe deeply chokes into a soft sobbing gasp. He notices the girl is one half step ahead, and she looks concerned about him stumbling down the stairs. She stops Sanbao briefly, with 2 steps to go. so they can gather themselves before turning through the lobby toward the front door. From the earphones he hears, "Look at ease, Mr. President. Smile and say that your vehicle is strong. You have to leave for something important." Sanbao opens his voice and hopes his numb fear and rising panic don't betray his smile and make his own voice crack as he tells the hotel staff just what he was told to say. The porters and managers and half a dozen other employees have just added an alarmed mask to the other parts of their uniform. Their faces all say, "How can he leave just as this super typhoon is peaking? It's shaking the building, for God's sake." Wang Sanbao's government-appointed bulletproof stretch van stops in front of the lobby's revolving doors. Theo came in the wrong way around the short circular driveway so that the driver's door is curbside, not the passenger sliding door. Theo stays in the van. The driver's window stays up. He looks straight ahead, barely visible through the darkened window as the bodyguard jumps around the front of the van to the hotel door in leaping steps. James takes Sanbao's arm and leads him around the back of the van with the girl still on Sanbao's other arm. Barely heard over the roar of the typhoon, a commanding voice shouts from inside the van, "Get in and shut the door!" James pops the side door and opens it to let Sanbao climb in with the girl right behind. "Lie back on the stretcher, Mr. President," the man in black speaks in a low, menacing voice. The girl climbs over semi-reclined Sanbao, and James quickly shuts the sliding door again. Theo puts the van into drive, and they drift from the hotel front door as the voice in the van says, "Not fast. Go slow. Don't hurry." Moving out of the relative shelter of the hotel's small, unexposed, circular driveway, typhoon winds gust with triple intensity and just then seem to focus especially with one thick belt of force. A freight train of gale-force wind strikes the heavy armored van, and it slides and turns half a car width in the wide stream of hotel parking lot runoff water. Blasted sideways, Theo sees wide-eyed hotel staff gasping from behind lobby windows. "Keep going, we're fine!" The man growls the command out and leans forward, glaring at the men in the front. Sanbao finds himself on a padded stretcher. Inside the van, he breathes icy cold air from the powerful air conditioner set on high. The girl goes to work, pulling his feet further down on the stretcher. She takes off his jacket, removing his wallet and smartphone, and hands them to the man in charge, the man in black. He is halfway sitting up, propped by his elbows and rocking with the motion of the van proceeding through the hotel parking lot. The girl rolls up Sanbao's right sleeve and, with no warning, injects Sanbao in his right upper arm with a hypodermic. Then she begins swabbing skin and putting an IV in his right wrist and taping it down. Her voice is kind. "The injection will relax you and let you rest through our voyage. Lie back now, please." Sanbao remained on his elbows and says with more bluster than he thought possible, "Let me speak with my wife." "Let's have the president revisit the women one more time," the man in the back says. He turns the phone screen on, showing the scene at the driver's house. "Show us the grandmother," the man says into his phone. "You, look away, now," he yells at the girl in the van. She knows to not look and is fully occupied anyway, preparing the stretcher bed. The man in black checks to see Sanbao's Bluetooth earplug is still in. He turns the phone and holds the screen right up to Sanbao's face for a few quick seconds of torment to keep him in line. Now Sanbao sees the horror of the mother-in-law's halfway cut off, sideways protruding finger still oozing blood. There's a t-shirt-sized pool of blood surrounding her hand on the table. The woman's pained expression while tendons stick out on her neck says everything without any sound escaping her taped mouth. Sanbao moans for the woman and also from drugs in the injection they gave him. Saying nothing, the man in black takes back the smartphone and removes Sanbao's earplug. The girl helps Sanbao lay back in as comfortable a position as possible and begins tucking his feet into a thick, soft, semi-transparent bag, zipping it up, working it around, up past his waist. She configures a second IV bag to the IV line. Gently but firmly, she tapes them both to Sanbao's shirt shoulder at the collarbone. As she does this, with confident skill, she pats the center of his chest with the palm of her hand and assures him, "I will take care of you. It's my job to see you are all right." Sanbao's breath catches, remembering how his mother did that. Angel, the only other person who ever touched him there the same way. Then the girl takes out wide, elastic, see-through bands from the same bag she got the medical supplies from. She lifts the bottom of the stretcher as if it weighs nothing and holds it on top of one of her ankle-high boots. Without stopping, she works to get 4 of the elastic bands around the stretcher and Sanbao's ankles, thighs, waist, and lower chest. She zips the thick, clear, padded bag up further as she works. Then she takes out 2 more bands and lifts the front of the stretcher the same way, carefully wrestling that pair of bands over the stretcher. She puts one of these on Sanbao's upper chest. For now, she leaves the remaining band under his head. Sanbao is no match for the muscle relaxant and tranquilizer drugs pulling him down into unconsciousness. His eyes are half open, heavy with sleep, but he listens still. The girl puts a full-face red diver's mask on him and tugs on the sides to check she's sealed it well enough to his face. She turns valves on top of oxygen tanks beneath the stretcher, releasing air. She calls to Sanbao, "Mr. President, can you breathe all right?" He takes a breath and nods. She quickly finishes zipping up the top of the bag that already encases most of him, then zips the side zipper past his head and clamps the coupler zipper lock. He's all set. "Now get everything else ready," she says, without looking over at the man in black. She puts the last elastic band over the forehead of his dive mask and smiles towards Sanbao's face. Then she connects stronger, wider woven belts holding the lower chassis and the stretcher on top, with clamps clanking closed. She waits until all the clamps are fastened before she stops and inspects her work. Her face furrows with concern, knowing this elderly man will begin overheating soon. The van stops in front of a large green gate, the same green gate the stolen city truck exited a few short hours ago. Now the gate is loudly clattering, as if giants are shaking it from the other side. The girl opens the van's side door, disregarding insane winds, and jumps out to release the gate, which flies open. She waits for the van to pull inside the construction lot before wrestling the big gate closed, fighting valiantly against the super typhoon gusts. It takes all her strength and pushes her back twice before she secures the gate shut once more. She leaps and pulls herself over the gate, landing with a splash. Her muscled comrade sneers at her weakness, battling the winds and the gate as she climbs in the van and slides the door shut. Horizontal rain and wild, roaring wind shoot debris and sea foam between the massive white concrete blocks of ready-to-install dock pieces. Whipping debris fragments mix with the elements, forming thick, wicked, snake-shaped white clouds, loudly striking the front and sides of the van over and over. "Drive close to the wall," he shouts to be heard. They come to the flashing lights on construction mannequins bolted in place. Powerful winds buffet the perforated plastic curtains surrounding the ramp, but they defy the tempest, defy imagined stress tests, holding their place. "Move the van to face the yellow curtain," Turn off all your lights now, move, wait till I tell you, and then reverse straight back 40 meters to the edge of the water. The girl opens the side door, jumps out, and hurries the door closed again to keep debris from whipping in. She rushes to the ramp, keeping her head down to minimize the force of the raging winds and spraying seawater coming over the wall. She takes a razor box cutter tied at on the right pole, waiting for her there. With the cutter, she slices off the plastic curtain ties as high as she can reach, pulling the last long ones down like unlacing a shoe. She keeps a grip on the strings and curtains as she does, so they don't fly away and catch someone's eye. She wrestles the plastic sheeting under the ramp, one side at a time. After that, she kicks the diagonal bracing poles, holding the curtain poles in place, dislodging them from clamps on the ground. Then, with practiced and efficient movements always bent over, she moves to take down, pull apart, and stow all 13 poles under the ramp. Within 2 minutes, she completes her task, unveiling their launch target. The wet ramp glistens in the rain. Dancing lighted mannequins show the way, flashing madmen waving alone in the storm. Without a backward glance, she rushes to the van, now backed up to the edge of the deep water across the Port Police headquarters. She squat strides directly towards the center of the van, bent over to keep the typhoon winds from picking her up and tossing her into the port waters. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the reading this time. Please leave a comment if you did. What did you think? Remember, sharing is caring, so please do tell a friend who would like to join us here. If you are enjoying the journey, I'd be so grateful if you would be a supporter and pick up a copy of Danshui President Plunge on Amazon and leave a review. Until next time, take care. I look forward to seeing you here again. See you then.